Hey everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Snap podcast, Can't Stop Snapping. If you're listening to this podcast, you have most likely caught the Marvel Snap hype bug like so many of us, or you're about to. So why the podcast? Well, since the game has been released, many people have set to creating content around the game. Streamers and beta testers have uploaded videos or streaming the game on Twitch, and there's so much to talk about. There's the art, the different cards, the meta that's already forming. And I wanted to create this podcast to be able to follow the game, follow the hype, and keep people informed about where the game is today and where it's going in the future. For any of you who haven't followed the game since it's been announced a little over a week ago, here's a brief overview. Marvel Snap is the first game created by Studio Second Dinner, developed for mobile and PC. Ben Brode, the chief development officer at Second Dinner, was previously the game director of Hearthstone, and he is working with the team at Second Dinner to develop this game. There's a real pedigree of talent behind the game between Ben and other creators who have worked on games like Hearthstone and other collectible card games developed for both mobile and PC. So how does Marvel Snap play? The goal of Marvel Snap is to win 2 of 3 locations. Locations are randomly chosen each match from a pool of about 50 to 60 locations at launch. Players form decks of 12 cards. These cards are heroes, villains, characters from the Marvel universe, both the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the comic book universe. And the game is played over 6 turns. The game has a mana system similar to other card games, starting at 1 mana on turn 1 and increasing 1 mana per turn all the way up to 6 mana on turn 6. At the end of turn 6, whoever has the most power at 2 of 3 locations wins the game. Power is the strength that each card has. So players play cards that have different abilities and different strengths and things that will happen throughout the game. And again, at the end, whoever controls 2 of 3 locations with the most power wins the game. Now, this is the basics of the game, but one of the most unique things about the game is the snapping mechanic, which the game is named after. As the game goes on, what's at stake for a win or a loss of the game is what's called 1 cube. The person that wins the game gains 1 cube, and the person who loses the game loses 1 cube. Each player throughout the game, through all 6 turns, has the chance to one time snap. And when they snap, the stakes are doubled. So if player 1 snaps, the stakes double from 1 to 2. If player 2 snaps during the game, the stakes double from 2 to 4. Now at the end of turn 6, if no player has retreated and the game goes all 6 turns, the game will automatically double the stakes at the very end. So if both players have snapped and they play all the way to turn 6, the cubes at stake will be 8 cubes. The more cubes you have, the higher in the rankings you will go up. And if you lose cubes, you will go lower in the rankings. That's a little bit about how the game works and the mechanics. The game was announced on May 19th, and the closed beta started just a few days later on May 24th. Initial invites have gone out to content creators and to a small groups of beta testers who have filled out to participate in the closed Android beta online. They've already pushed out the game to 2 different waves of beta testers, but it appears from users on Twitter, on Discord, that the tester base is relatively small and it's still just in the United States at this point and on Android. There's still a chance to sign up for the beta. It sounds like, again, reading through the Twitter threads and some of the conversations online from the creators of the game, that they're going to be pushing this out to more waves over the next couple of months. So if you go to marvelsnap.com, you will find a link to sign up for the Android beta right now. So talking about the reception of the game thus far, reception of the game has been relatively positive from a lot of content creators. Several large streamers from different communities, including the Hearthstone community, have been streaming the game. Some of the most notable streamers are Disguised Toast and Trump. They both stream the game to thousands of viewers, helping to build this excitement around the game. I say there's been a lot of positive feedback, but there's also been some concern or some negative feedback. So talk a little bit about both of those. So some of the key pieces of feedback that I've seen online are how the cards are unlocked. Currently, the system is you have what's called a collection level that you level up by upgrading your cards. there is an upgrade card system where the visual effects and appearance of cards can be upgraded from common to uncommon to rare, etc., all the way up to what's called infinity. And as you upgrade your card and its appearance, your collection level increases. As your collection level increases, you unlock cards from a random pool as your collection level increases. So people are a little concerned about the randomness and not being able to specifically target cards, which is very common in other digital collectible card games. Looking at comments from the creators and the developers on Twitter, on Discord, it looks like this is something they're looking into, some kind of crafting system to be able to target specific cards, but there's really nothing to announce on that end right now. Another thing I've seen a little bit of concern about is the battle pass system or the season pass system. And the interesting thing about this is that we still don't know all of the details about this. There's a little bit of gray area. There's been certain things that have been said by the developers either on Twitter or have been said in streams, and also have been said in response to Discord questions about how the season pass systems will work. Currently, there's a kind of a test system pass in the beta that can be purchased with gold, which is an in-game currency within the game. And gold can be earned through normal activities in the game. And so at first, a lot of people were excited saying, oh, this is great. This is really free to play friendly. I can earn the gold in the game, and then I can get the season pass, which will unlock me special cards, cosmetics, etc. But there's been some recent comments and feedback from the development team that the first official season pass, which is going to be starting during the beta period here in about a week, will be only purchasable with real money. And so there is some concern from the fan base, from the users, that this will be anti-free to play, because during each season pass for a month, there will be certain new cards that are only attainable through the season pass. And so the fear is that players who are willing to pay each month will be able to get cards that other players won't have access to. And if those cards are meta defining or are really advantageous, then people who are wanting to play free will have to wait a month and will be behind always in their collection. So that's a little bit of the discourse online, some of the concern. But the reality is we still don't have all the details. We don't have all the information, and we're going to still have to see how it plays out through the beta, and if the team at Second Dinner decides to make any changes to this based off feedback, or what will be the final implementation of a season pass or a battle pass in this game. So there is an official Discord. I've referenced that a couple of times. It was funny. There was an unofficial Discord when the game was first announced. That lasted for about a week. I was in there. It was crazy. There were a lot of funny things that occurred. If you were there, you've maybe heard of things of like Dirk Diggler and some of kind of the discourse around certain strategies, certain cards, etc. But after about a week, the team at Second Dinner worked with the moderators of the unofficial Discord to create an official Discord and to basically migrate everyone over. And as of this recording, there's over 2,000 members in that official Discord. And it's a really great place for discourse about the game. There's channels for talking about strategy, deck building, feedback to the developers. The developers are in there answering questions, which is great. So great interaction between the development team and fans thus far. The Discord will be a great resource when the beta eventually launches on PC, and when the game eventually launches in a full release on PC and mobile. So make sure to go check it out and join it. You can either find the Discord from the official Marvel Snap website, or you can find it from the Marvel Snap subreddit. So why am I excited about the game? I talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but I love card games. I love Marvel, and this just looks like a really exciting game. Like I've said, there's a lot of content creators who are very excited about it. Seems like there's going to be an exciting, large fan base around this game, and that the team at Second Dinner has a lot of content in the pipeline, and this is going to be a very well-supported game. They've talked about having new things and new updates coming to the game weekly, monthly, and there's probably going to be tie-ins with Marvel movies and Marvel shows. And so if you're a Marvel fan and you kind of like the meta around the Marvel universe and all the content that's out there, this is definitely a game and a community that you're going to want to be a part of. So this has mainly been an intro episode to the podcast, Can't Stop Snapping. I'm still going to be figuring out kind of a timeline for when episodes are going to be released, whether that's going to be once a week, twice a week, etc. But just to give you a little preview, in upcoming episodes, I plan to review the cards and locations that have been released into the beta. I'm going to be bringing on some streamers, content creators to discuss different cards and different concepts of the game with me here on the podcast. So if you have any suggestions of people you'd like to hear on the podcast, please let me know in the comments. I also will be giving updates around the beta, other announcements from Second Dinner, and anything else that comes up about the game, obviously, as it moves through beta and towards its release. If you want to stay informed about the game, its creators, and other Marvel Snap content, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a review to help others find us here. Thanks for listening, and don't stop snapping. Can't Stop Snapping is a podcast written, produced, recorded, and hosted by Michael Thurman. Thanks for listening.